They got a lot of courage. Jack, they're a throwback. Look at this. We don't want to stop.
Ever wonder why some professional athletes would go the extra mile to cheat? Well, great sports hold a lot of stakes, and that of course is the reason why many athletes and even coaches would do everything possible to get a competitive advantage. However, a majority of such dubious acts end up in the full glare of the camera, and the consequences are dire. Hello and welcome to the channel. In this video, we're going to take a look at the second episode of Athletes Caught Cheating. Make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon to never miss out on any of our new episodes. With that, let's jump into the video. Marion Jones. American sprinter Marion Jones starred at the 2000 Olympics in Sydney, winning 5 medals, including 3 golds. This made the superhero girl become the fastest woman on the planet Earth. Even though her win raised a lot of suspicions and she was accused of using steroids, Jones strongly denied the accusation. However, 7 years later, Jones admitted to having used performance-enhancing drugs during the 2000 Olympics Games. Jones was stripped of all of her medals, banned from the sport, and slammed with a 6-month jail term. Now, that was a harsh punishment. After her prison term, Jones has become an ambassador of clean sports and has been making tours to speak to upcoming athletes against such silly mistakes. Vincenzo Nibali. Talking about a blatant silly mistake that happened in the history of cycling, we have Vincenzo on the spot. The Italian cycling star was caught on camera enjoying a free tow from his Astana team's car following a crash. The 2014 Tour de France winner was racing in Vuelta a España when this happened, but unfortunately he might have forgotten about the helicopter cameras, and whole footage of his trick of holding onto a sticky bottle to get over a 1-minute free pull was revealed. While he didn't escape scot-free, Nibali was expelled from Vuelta a España. The star later on admitted his guilt, saying it was a serious mistake. Sammy Sosa. If there's someone who's been lucky enough to confuse the MLB drug test, then it's Sammy Sosa. The home run race star in the late 1990s has been suspected on several accounts for using performance-enhancing drugs for most of his record-breaking career. But ironically, he never failed during the MLB-administered drug test. How he managed it still remains a confusing nightmare. Even though he was listed on the 2009 New York Times report on players who had allegedly tested positive for performance-enhancing drugs during the 2003 MLB season, these allegations have never been proven. However, Sosa was busted with a corked bat during a game in 2003 and was suspended from home run race for 7 games. Sosa has since termed the incident an honest mistake. Lance Armstrong. Boasting as one of the most celebrated athletes in American history, Lance Armstrong has had a series of suspicion on his strong cycling abilities. Lance at his peak won Tour de France on several accounts, even after surviving testicular cancer. Now, that's pretty daring. Surviving testicular cancer and coming out to race with unmatched ability is just out of this world. Well, it's on this account that rumors spread wildly, linking Lance to doping. However, Lance maintained his innocence, denying the allegation even as investigators came strong onto him. He even took legal measures against those who linked him to the cheat, including his close competitor and 2006 Tour de France winner Floyd Landis. But finally, in 2012, investigation revealed that he was using performance-enhancing drugs throughout most of his career, and Lance himself came public through live television to admit the guilt. And that didn't come softly on Lance. His cycling career came tumbling as he was stripped of every one of the Tour de France wins, including the bronze medal he had won during the 2000 Olympics Games. His sponsors as well vanished, and Lance suddenly drops from the most respected cyclist to becoming the people's enemy. Brie Manziel. The famous fitness model Brie Manziel found herself on the hot side of the coin when she completed a 13.1-mile race in a record time of 1 hour 58 minutes and 22 seconds without training during the Run Like a Diva half marathon in Temecula, California. Ideally, the average time for a woman to complete a half marathon is usually 2 hours 19 minutes with an average pace of slightly over 10 minutes per mile. However, Manziel's average pace of 9 minutes and 9 seconds per mile would just be stunning and, of course, record-breaking. However, the accusation became very heated when a look back at her mile-per-mile split revealed something weird. The wife of former football star Janny Manziel hit the first half of the 13.1-mile race in 1 hour 31 minutes and 29 seconds, representing a pace of 14 minutes per mile. Now for the fitness star to have completed in 1 hour 58 minutes and 22 seconds, along with her running partner, she would have needed to run the final half of the race at a surprising pace of 4 minutes per mile. I'm sure this would have gotten her right into the Guinness Book of World Records. The course expects athletes to run around the loop 2 times, but it's alleged that Manziel took just a single lap. Whether that was intentional or just a miss of the rules, it remains Brie's top secret. Her social media fans have hurled accusations on her for allegedly cheating at the race, but Brie has maintained her stand that she won the race. She has termed the accusation sad and pathetic. Antonio Margarito. Talking about a bloody scene in the boxing ring, Antonio Margarito comes to mind. The year 2008 saw Antonio Margarito rise to the top of his boxing career after knocking out world champion Miguel Cotto in a near-death fight. However, suspicion was raised on his success in 2009 after Shane Mosley's corner noticed Margarito's gloves had too much wrapping and called for the review. His reps were investigated by officials when a suspicious substance was found on the inside of the gloves. Later, the substance was identified to be a combination of gypsum and other elements that are notable to hardening when wet. Basically, that would turn Margarito's gloves into blunt objects during a fight. And boy, when punched, you better take your face away, because the next thing would be blood oozing out of your face. Margarito is the kind that would brutally punch your face into a bloody mess and care less about the impact of the stone-hardened substances hidden in his gloves. I really doubt you'd dare to enter a ring against such a fighter. Well, as obvious, Margarito and his trainer Javier Capetillo were suspended for 1 year from participating in the fight, and his future fights were keenly inspected. Romano Fenati. Italian Moto2 rider Romano Fenati came under focus after he decided to act against the contest rules. Fenati, in what would have turned out as a deadly accident, kicked his rival while still riding the motorcycle. But as though that was not enough, Fenati went ahead to grab the brake of his opponent Stefano Manzi while riding at a speed of 220 kilometers per hour. Whether that was unconscious or not, the whole incident would have led to a serious injury or worse, even death. Well, after doing this silly mistake, Fenati was banned from the competition and even got his license revoked by his country's motorcycling federation, the FMI. He has since come out to apologize for the incident, terming it as a disgraceful gesture. Well, Fenati's future with motorcycling still hangs in the air, as he announced that he will return to school, saying, "Now I'm going back to school. With a cool head, I say that I will not race anymore, but I do not really know how I would see myself in 5 years." Sal Alosi. As we had earlier mentioned, even coaches fall victims to antics that would help their teams to get an upper edge, and Sal Alosi is just one of them. Alosi chose to do a pretty grave mistake, one that he knew would land him in trouble if he got noticed. Well, Alosi, who was standing at the sidelines, tripped one of the Miami Dolphin players in an attempt to make his team win. And alas, the whole action came into the full glare of the camera. The New York Jets assistant coach Sal Alosi was suspended and slammed with a $25,000 fine for his silly actions. Louis Resto. The fight between Louis Resto and Billy Collins can well be termed the darkest days in boxing history as a result of the dubious actions that took place. Resto took against Collins and the results were not pleasing to the eyes. Resto smashed his opponent, brutally messing up his eyesight. Despite being an underdog, he won the fight and Collins had to be hauled to the hospital for swollen eye injuries. But after the fight, it was realized that his gloves had been tampered with and were filled with an extra layer of protection. Resto was found guilty and imprisoned for 2 years in jail for his criminal acts. Do you love the channel? Well, make sure to subscribe to the channel and leave this video a like if you enjoyed watching it. And well, there you have it, a list of athletes who got caught cheating. So what do you think was the worst cheating scenario? Let us know in the comments section below. And if you enjoyed watching the video, make sure to give it a like and subscribe. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Until then, bye.